Hello and welcome to the City of Palm Springs Human Rights Commission meeting. Today is July the 13th, 2026, and it is exactly 5:01 p.m. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. Jeremy, do we have quorum?
We do have quorum, but the record would reflect all members are here except for Malachi Strong, and I'm sending him the link right now so he can participate remotely.
Okay, great. Thank you for doing that. All right. So I'd like to present my comments as a chair. So good evening, everyone, and for the public as well, and welcome to the July meeting of the Palm Springs Human Rights Commission. I would like to especially welcome our new commissioners. We are pleased to have you join us and look forward to perspectives, experiences, and commitment you bring to our work. As we begin a new term together, I want to briefly remind us that the strength of this commission comes from our ability to listen, to engage in thoughtful and respectful discussion, and to remain focused on the mission and our role as an advisory body to the City Council of Palm Springs. We may not always agree, but we should always approach our work with professionalism, respect from one another, and a shared commitment to the community that we serve. We have a full agenda this evening, so including important discussions related to immigration issues, disability access, community collaboration, educational materials, and the election of our chair and vice chair for the next year.
Malachi has joined us.
Oh, hi, Malachi.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome, Commissioner Strong.
Hello.
Okay. I definitely look forward to a productive meeting and to the work ahead of us as a commission. With that, welcome again to our new commissioners, and we will move forward with today's agenda. So our agenda will continue with item 4 in the agenda, which is an introduction of the new members of the Human Rights Commission. Starting with Commissioner Robles, then Commissioner Lilly, then Commissioner McAlpin. If you could introduce yourselves to the commission and to the public, give us a little bit about your background and what you look forward to becoming the new commissioners. Rene.
Thank you for putting me on the spot. My name is Rene Robles, and obviously I'm a new commissioner with the Human Rights Commission, and I'm very proud to be part of this board. My background is working with the County of Riverside as a crisis responder under the human. Let me retract on that. Under the Behavioral Health Department. So once again, I work closely with the community, law enforcement, and co-respond with law enforcement. And we work closely with the schools as well, among, once again, the community. What I look forward to within this commission is that I have a lot to learn. I'm okay with that. And let's get this going.
Thank you, Commissioner Robles. Commissioner Lilly.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Lilly. I am relatively new to the Palm Springs area. Been here for approximately 10 months. And I bring 20 years of human rights experience working in the federal government. And I'm looking forward to adding value to the great work this commission's been doing for years.
Well, welcome, Commissioner Lilly. Great to have you with us. Commissioner McAlpin.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited to be here. My name is Frank McAlpin. I've lived in Palm Springs for about 4 years. I'm a social worker, a professor at Cal State currently, and I'm really excited to help move forward the great things that you guys are doing.
Excellent. Thank you and welcome all of you. I would like for us to go back to the second page of the agenda, because there are two very important pieces of information that I would like for us to kind of read and kind of ease us into the work of the commission. And I'm just going to start by asking Commissioner Robles to read the City of Palm Springs mission statement, if we could.
The mission statement. City of Palm Springs mission statement. Palm Springs is an inclusive, world-class city dedicated to providing excellent and responsive public services to enhance the quality of life for current and future generations.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioner Robles. And then I would like to, Commissioner Lilly, to read the City of Palm Springs Human Rights Commission mission statement, please.
The Human Rights Commission promotes equality, fairness, inclusion, and dignity for all residents of Palm Springs. We serve as an advisory body to the City Council on matters related to discrimination, civil rights, and community cohesion.
Thank you so much for that. All right. So moving on the agenda, I would like to introduce item 5, which is the acceptance of the agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as it stands in front of us?
Aye.
Motion.
Okay, so moved by Commissioner Lilly. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rimas. Any further discussions on the agenda items in front of us? Having heard none, we need a vote. Say aye, raise your hand to approve the agenda as it stands.
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioners there? Okay. Thank you, Greer. Thank you, Stro. Wonderful. So the agenda was approved. Item 6 on the agenda includes speaker presentations, which we have none.
For our speakers in the audience are listed on the discussion part, so please don't panic that you're not speaking quite yet.
We will engage with you, yes. Okay? Thank you for being with us. All right, great. Item 7 in the agenda is the approval of minutes. The minutes that took place for our meeting on June the 8th, 2026. The recommendation is to approve the meeting minutes of June 8th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Nevin's motions, a second.
I second.
Commissioner Rimas, seconds. Any further discussion on those minutes? Having heard none, the minutes have been approved. Oh, you have to say hi?
Take a vote.
Yes, take a vote.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Reflected for the record. Thank you so much. All right. We're sort of moving quickly, but then don't worry. You know, we have a lot of time to talk. All right, item 8 in the agenda is public comments. Do we have any public comments?
I received no public comment cards. Is there anyone here speaking on behalf of the public?
On behalf of the public,
All right.
anyone online?
No one's raising their hand.
Okay. For new commissioners, this would be the time that we set for public comments. And I just need to read the statement on public comments because it's important that we understand how we engage with public comments. The time that we allow for folks to present public comments is set aside to the public to address the commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Members of the public may address the commission by contacting our Deputy City Manager, Hammond, that's his number. Although the commission values the public's comments, pursuant to Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the agenda. And each presenter will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Right? So that's how we will handle public comments. Item 9 in the agenda, moving forward, reports, I see none, no reports. And now we're gonna get to the fun part, which is discussion items, okay? So that's item 10. And we will begin the discussion items regarding immigration issues. We have invitee and present Luz Gallegos from TODEC. Luz? Yes?
If you'd like to come on up, you can join and.
You can join over here.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for coming here and talking to us. This will be a perfect time for us to engage in conversation, ask meaningful questions, listen to what the discussion item is all about. And it's also a great opportunity for the public to hear what we're discussing. Luz, welcome and great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Jeremy and the commission. Blessed to be here. Again, I'm here from TODEC, and I could share a lot with you, and I want to be respectful of the time. I know I have like 10 minutes. There's a lot to share, but what I do want to share is a story that really shows the impact of what's happening with immigration. I know many people hear what's going on social media, just from social media or the news. In all honesty, immigration enforcement in the entire Coachella Valley, including Palm Springs, hasn't stopped since last year. A lot of operations go on social media. A lot of them don't. I could share. It's been really consistent since last year, 2025. The spike has always been there. I could share. I asked staff to pull data. So that we have an emergency line we had for over 4 decades that only opens up when there's emergencies that impact the well-being of immigrants or farm workers in the region. In January 2025, we turned on the emergency line. It's a line that provides resources and connects community members to legal. It assigns them a caseworker, and we're very blessed to be expanding this program, expanding this program, and I want to share that right now in Palm Springs, we are helping 113 of your residents that have been impacted by immigration enforcement. Either legal representation, their family member has been deported. We've been providing them with wraparound services, including grocery drop-offs. Thanks to the enormous support of community, we cannot do it on our own. A lot of community members donate to TODEC, and all the funds that are coming are going out to respond to this crisis through our Unidos Venceremos Fund. A lot of community members drop off groceries for us, and it's really sustaining the entire region where our volunteers, here in the Coachella Valley, we have 500 volunteers that have been trained since last year, and we're all responding in different ways. A lot of them are doing the whole grocery operations, packing, and then also dispersing at home sites to these families. But the data I share is just Palm Springs. It's a different reality when you hear on the ground what's happening daily. It's happening daily. It's happening daily. Operations haven't stopped. What we have documented since last year, where we had one of the largest operations in the entire Coachella Valley, where we had over 500 agents come hit our region on June 18th. The largest operation in history. This was a big operation that they did, but as a community and so many local partners, we've been coming together to respond because we cannot wait. We have to respond with or without. And what we saw in June, that they were trying to impact the well-being of our communities, but they weren't able to because we were well organized. The operations that we've been having with our local partners responded, and that was a good test run of what we could do as a community. I could share that since then we haven't had that large operations when we have people, agents coming in with full force. Although we do see smaller operations, but right now they're really using technology. They're using Flock. They're using facial recognitions to the point that we have doubling down since the summer of 2024 on Know Your Rights. And it's something that our organization does normally because of where we're at in the region. But since 2024, when we knew that that things could change up 2025 with elections, we had to prepare. So reinforcing Know Your Rights. So they know our community knows their rights. But at this point, they're using technology where they take a picture, even if our community says, yo sé mis derechos, I know my rights. With facial recognition, they know the history of that person. And that's how they're criminalizing our community, regardless. So with that said, I want to share this story that will show you the impact of what your residents are going through. And I chose the story out of many stories was because this resident was actually didn't start out in Palm Springs. They started on the ECV, but because of the situation with the parent that was impacted, they decided to relocate with one of our staff attorneys lives here. So they were able to help them through the church to relocate the family. Mm-hmm. So now they're your residents. So this picture is a picture of, we have permission to share their story, mm-hmm. of our compañero that his impact really started when we had Tropical Storm Hillary impact the well-being of Coachella Valley, when the only safety net of our farm workers was washed away because of the storm. They lost their job, they were behind on rent, they were owing people money, and this happened then. Fast forward January 2025, when social media, immigration's in our streets, when immigrants know that they're at risk or immigration's on their street, They choose not to go to work, and that impacts their well-being. So this family started getting more behind. They were owing money. This man, within our culture, Mexican men are macho. They may not know how to write, read, or speak English, but they know how to work.
Mhm.
And when their only safety net gets impacted, so does their life. We are seeing a community that's going through so much trauma, of fear. We all live in privilege. I live in privilege thanks to my parents that migrated, but we have to use our privilege to help those that don't have anything. And this man started getting behind on rent, the kids not going to school. This man decided to take his life. He hanged himself from a palm tree that he harvested within our dates. His little girl and little boy found him hanged. Since then, they reached out to us to seek funeral costs. They called our hotline and they said, "We know you've been helping us, but this is what's happening with my dad. We need help with funeral." We were able to help them with funeral through the resources that we have. But then, now we've been helping the family. We helped them relocate to Palm Springs. We, thanks to community, they have a place to live. Their kids are not going to school. They're going to school virtually. Of course, right now it's the summer. But this is the reality. It really shows not only the economic impact, but the mental health that our community is going through. And with that, I wanted to share what we offer as an organization, but for us right now, communities first. And I'm very blessed that you invited us and to hear a little bit of what's happening. Palm Springs continues to get hit, and we know why, because of a lot of relocations that happen with our refugee families. There's a lot of risk here in Palm Springs, but to be honest, operations continue on the daily. It's nothing new, and it shouldn't be normalized, but for us, community knows there's already that fear, and for us, the way we work is really thinking of community first, because the community's already, their mental health is shot. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's about being there for community and bringing the resources that we have within the organization. So with so many partners that provide different resources. So right now, I was asked to bring some flyers. So I have these in my car, but
thank you.
So I hope everybody gets one. If you want to get one, pass it down. But it's just a little bit of the resources through our emergency line. We're managing regional support for impacted families. So impacted families or partners refer to us, and they said we have a client that we're helping them with the legal, but they need help with rent, they need help with mental health, they need help with food. So our caseworkers take on the case, and they provide them with wraparounds. I have one more case. Thank you. With wraparound services, and this caseworkers with them until they don't need them. I could share a lot of community members. This family decided to stay, but a lot of community members decide that I have family that's been deported. They decide to self-deport just to be together. I mean, there's so much happening with community, and also the impact with workers at work sites. So we've been helping a lot of our growers and local businesses think through the policies to create their safe spaces and all of that. But it's just truly a community effort where we wouldn't be able to respond and provide groceries and provide financial assistance without the support of our community, especially in Palm Springs. It's really invested by residents that continue to invest in the well-being of our residents, and that's the way we've been responding. And in the package, you'll see some of the resources we have for community, our emergency line, and that's how we've been supporting the residents. But the reality is real. We are losing residents on the daily basis. They're either being detained, disappeared, they're being assassinated, or they're self-deported. This is a current need of our valley, and it's not only the valley, it's our state, our region, but this is the reality that we see here in the Coachella Valley, where we're seeing families that are so desperate They're so desperate, and we can't lie to them. We have to say, we're at risk. You know, these are know your rights, know how to document situations, and we're here if anything happens. But in reality, the reality's there. You know, enforcement has been hurting our valley. It's been hurting our economy, and it's going to get worse because of the investment that the country has made for these types of operations, and just with the earlier killing of another person in the state of Maine, you know, it really continues to impact not only the community's well-being, that they're like, what can we do? You know, and as a community, we just come together as a community of faith, but in reality, the struggle is very real. Our kids are hurting. We had suicides of children here in the Coachella Valley. They're not residents of Palm Springs, but they're residents of our valley. And for us, it's impacting all of us. For us here that are within the civil rights and we care about humans, it's about the humans. But for others, it's about their bottom line, their economy, and we're seeing how a lot of businesses are hurting. They don't have people coming into their businesses, or they're losing workers. And the workers that want to work are being harassed. They're being killed. They're being taken. So this is what I have so much more, but I want to be respectful of time. And I really want to thank all of you for your hearts, for your compassion, and having this space here in the city of Palm Springs where you're digesting everything that's happening to our community. But right now I could say our most vulnerable community needs all of us. And we have to stand strong and stand in faith, but stand in action. And this is what I could share. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy, but I do have to, after we're done, I'm gonna have to step out. I'm sorry, I have another commitment down the way as well.
Thank you, Luz, for that incredible and very, very heartfelt share with the commission and with the public. With that, I'm going to briefly, because we have to be respectful of Luz's time as well, I'm going to open up briefly for commissioners to ask questions or make some comments. So commissioners, the floor is open. Raise your hand if you have any questions or comments to make, including those online. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, thank you for being here, and you speak so beautifully and passionately about this. And, you know, the irony is not lost that you come and visit us on a day where ICE murdered another person in Maine, and it's happening, as you said, in our valley, and it's not getting covered by the media. It's not getting covered by a lot of things, and I think it's so important. And in 2025, I made an offhanded comment here saying, what can we do about our neighbors and the ICE raids? And that sort of spiraled into how can we bring somebody in who's knowledgeable? And you have far exceeded my expectations of anybody we could bring in to teach us and help us. And my question for you is, like, what more can we do as the Human Rights Commission? But we also advise the City Council, what more can we do as the city to help our residents and those who are sheltering here and in fear and are afraid to go to school and to work and are economically challenged and have food insecurities?
Yes, thank you for your question. I think everybody has different comfort zones, but if you're asking me what to do, I know the city of Palm Springs is one of the cities that has been very proactive as far as policy and all of that. But to be honest, at the grassroots level, community tells us, please don't bring attention to us. Yeah. Because the more attention you bring, and that's the way we've been organizing, it hurts us. Because for us that live in privilege, we're on record. They know our faces. But those that want to stay hidden, by us creating more noise, it hurts community. Yeah. So what I would ask aside with that is also resources. I know right now the demand continues to grow. Our fund gets exhausted, and then donations come in and we're able to serve. Right now, the continue to increase with all the enforcements. And in our fund, we're not a food bank, and we make sure we're not a food bank. The reason we started grocery distribution in March of 2025 was because a lot of the community members were calling us and saying, we need money for this, we need money for that, and we need food. And food insecurity has always been an issue here in the valley and beyond. Mm-hmm. So we were connecting them to food banks. But our good partners at Fine Blueberries, they were like, we have the resources, but the situation with the funding and cuts and federal cuts, we have to be respectful to our partners and understand that they cannot do deliveries on home sites. So we decided to take that on. And we started with only our unrestricted funding because we wanted it to be on the low. We didn't want to create, more attention. But in June of 2026, we ran out of money. So we made it public that we were doing this operation and we needed community step up. And since June, it's been powered by community. But to be honest, the demand is higher than what comes in.
Sure.
Donations come in, they go out. None of it stays with the organization. Every penny that comes in goes out, either for food, funerals, bond. When we're talking about legal, when families need bond or anything, it goes out. So, we're very blessed for, to be honest, Coachella Valley is stepping up. Not only community, businesses supporting us, and it's really a community effort, but that it's exhausted. It's exhausting and the demand continues to grow. So what I would recommend is if there's an opportunity to really seek a fund that could support us to continue providing the services, because a lot of community members, they reach out to us, and although our caseworker connects them, they're like, they don't want their information to be thrown back and forth because of the fear, right? So they trust the organization. They come to us, and we're providing the resources. We're meeting them where they're at, and this is the way we've been working. And it's not just Dodec. It's so many local Coachella Valley organizations that we've been working together to respond to the crisis. But it really takes a community. So I mean. Unfortunately, policies pass, and to be honest, we're like hold our breath with a lot of even state policies because they're not being respected by the federal agents. At this point, it really takes the resources, because we have the systems in place, but when we fall short, we have more volunteers and resources. We have so many volunteers. I mean, it's so amazing how so many people want to do something. So many volunteers, but when it comes down to putting money to pay the rent or putting money continue to pay buy in bulk for groceries or pay funerals, that's where we fall short. But again, thanks to the entire community of the Coachella Valley that trusts us and continues to donate, and we're able to continue to meet the demand of community as much as we can.
Wait, commissioners, Commissioner Lilly.
Thank you for sharing what, the response you provided was really helpful in what more the city could do, if anything. Is there anything that you believe the city is doing now that is actually hurting?
I think the city has been very proactive and been they always stand with those that are vulnerable, whichever way, whichever cause. So I always appreciate the city of Palm Springs for doing that. I think it's something across the region, across the state, we continue hearing from different partners. I think right now we know allies, and allies show up in different ways. And when you ask me what is needed, I don't go back to what we need as an organization. I go back to what communities tell us. And the need that we see right now is the need to provide for those that when they miss one day of work, it impacts their whole well-being. Their only safety net. The only safety net that undocumented immigrants have is their jobs. And when that gets impacted, so does their life. And this story I shared with you of one of your family, local family, because the widow and the kids live in your city, it took her husband's life. So this story reflects, what we're hearing, the only safety net that immigrants have. And right now, our community's backed up in rent, trying to survive. Our community, I could share, and I share this everywhere I go, on state, everywhere. Our community's not thinking of prevention, they're thinking of survival.
Right. Commissioner Rinke?
Oh, yeah, I just had a question. Do you worry about being targeted?
We're already targeted, yeah. So they know where we are, they know who we are. I know, I could share so much, but I'd rather not. But it's a choosing that we do, and all of us here, even our cities do. Sometimes you have to put yourself on the line to help others. And to be honest, it's personal.
Okay. Commissioners on the screen? Greer, Strong?
Quick question.
Okay. Commissioner McAlpin?
Oh, just one question. Thank you so much for sharing and everything. Do you find like other agencies, whether it's Riverside County or like the school district, are aware of the unique needs of this population? Because I'm just thinking about the mental health, for example, right? That's a very specific need for children who are worried, right? Or parents that are worried. Do you feel like that is reflected in the services, or is it just services, like kind of blanket services?
Yes, so that's something that discussions we've been having because of the whole situation with mental health. We've been recommending not only to our counties that we organize in, but also to our state to really think through of what the pandemic looks like now. I know when we were in COVID, we went back to virtual and we had telehealth, right? And right now, as we're talking to our partners that deal with the with mental health providers, we said, can you do telehealth? And they're like, Medi-Cal won't reimburse us for telehealth. So it's a system issue, but we do have a big network of mental health providers that are more like the nonprofit that are going to homes or are doing the telehealth, but they're doing it voluntarily because they're not getting paid in any sort of way. And that's a systems change we're working on to change. But thank you for that question because it's real. You know, we are seeing the pandemic relive itself, but now only impacting some, but now it feels like it's impacting all or anybody that stands with. So the reality is real. Thank you for your question.
Commissioner Lilly?
I have one more question. I would imagine your organization communicates with other similar organizations in other parts of the country. What differences, if any, have you noticed from the immigration operations that are happening here in Palm Springs versus other cities?
Yes, so right here, what we're seeing here are strategies continue to shift. I know in 2024, at the end of 24, we saw strategy from the end of 2024 to 25 to the end of 2025 to the beginning of January 26. We see strategies continue to change, and as we're talking to partners across the country, other states, in other parts of the states, there's a lot of similarity, but only we identify ourselves with rural areas because of where we're at, right? They know what time our workers come out to work. They know where our community shops. So it's those strategies that these systems already know how to target. But then right now with the whole investment in enforcement and all the money that's coming in from the federal government for these types of operations, they have deep pockets. They're really utilizing a lot of tech. So that's something that we are seeing across the board, how they're using a lot of flock camera. I don't know, the city of Palm Springs, maybe that's something you guys, if you thinking about that, how we continue to create policies and to secure, because flock cameras are continue to put our community at risk because they are using all these types of equipment. Kind of either rethink that or get ahead of it.
All right. Final questions?
I just want to say for the public that it's www.todec.org if anybody wants to make a contribution or find out what is needed.
Okay.
It'd be important if people do.
That's wonderful. And I know this is a very important last question for me, Luz, which is, this is a really tough balancing act with asking the public to support and try to remain quiet about it. You have some great information in the packets that you share, becoming a naturalized citizen, information in Spanish, hotlines, Know Your Rights, it's a fantastic piece. All of the stuff about workers' rights in California, lots of great things, contracts and contact and resources for filing claims. This is fantastic information. What would you say to the public about this sort of difficult way of balancing, we need help, and how can you quietly support what we do?
Yes, so what we ask community is from your own comfort space. And then also understanding that not all community has the resources to support. They could support by calling their legislators, wherever, however they want to share their story, right? They could support by sharing the resources that groups have, right? Sharing, I don't have social media, I'll go on that, but I know the organization, we have social media, resharing what we have, right? But also, I think staying quiet is not an option. We have to, everybody has to choose their comfort zone and how loud they could get. But I do want to share that impacted community that lives in fear, they're just trying to hide. They're not trying to be like, we're here type of thing, you know? But community does need support. That's why, you know, a lot of arrests do, you know, when there's people around, and the good thing about Coachella, there's like a lot of people that do social media, so they're putting it out there from what the team shares, and everybody's trying to do their role. But a lot of arrests that we have documented don't even make it to social media or make it to the news. You know, so it's something that's real, and by you not seeing something go live and loud, it doesn't mean there's not an operation, because we had hundreds, not thousands now, of arrests here from 2025 to now, and it's been consistent since 2024, but it's not, the loudness has not been as loud because it's different strategies that these agencies are doing. They're just following what they're being told to do, you know, to do the work that they decide to do, but it's really impacting the well-being of our residents here and the economy of the Coachella Valley as well.
Thank you so much for that, Cher, and thank you for the work that TODEC is doing to help our communities in need. So,
No,
very,
thank you.
very nice.
It's not one person, one organization cannot do it all. It takes a lot of us to do it, and we have great partners in the Coachella Valley that have been stepping up and working with us, because we've been organizing in a very different way, but for us, it's always about community. And for those that are watching, please keep us in prayer. Keep our communities in prayer, because the struggle is tough, and it's getting tougher.
Okay, so for the public watching this, please visit www.todec.org and try to contribute in any way you can. This is a fantastic organization, and we're very thankful that you're here with us.
Is this a text number too? Or?
Yeah, it's text, but this is the emergency line. It's 24/7. It's our call. It's a call center, and whenever people need anything, they call, and they get, depending on the need, they get assigned a caseworker, and the caseworker sees them through whatever it is that they need. So if they need legal or anything that they need, they get connected.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to leave,
Thank you.
but
Thank you for that.
Thank
Very
you so
good.
much.
And also, can I just say, everything in this packet will be available online in our public record for the meeting. So if people want to access it from home, they can on our website, everything in this packet.
Great. All right, we're going to move to item 10B, which is a discussion regarding immigration issues with Michelle Orjarez from IC4IG. Michelle, come over.
Hello.
Hi, you and Tuva. Yeah, we have chairs up here. Welcome, Michelle, and Andy. Andy? Andy, thank you so much for being with us. So the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone.
Let me get to the presentation.
Oh, you have a presentation, great.
Yes, while Jeremy gets that pulled up for us. Hi, Commission. My name is Michelle Monjaras, and I'm the Coachella Valley organizer with the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice, also short for IC4IJ, as we'll be referring it to. I'm joined here today with my colleague Eddie Torres. He is our policy director coming from Moreno Valley, along with two of our new interns over there. They're observing today. Just to introduce a little bit more about myself, I am born in Palm Springs, raised in the West Valley my whole life. So I'm a lifelong resident of Cathedral City. And how I got here with ICIJ I want to share. Once the enforcement started ramping up here in the Coachella Valley, I was desperately looking for resources for impacted family, friends, and neighbors. It was a very tough time, and I was just looking for any organization providing updates, providing the transparency of what's happening in the community without actually directly witnessing it myself. And I found the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice. I saw the rapid response work and all the real-time community alerts that they were posting on the social media. And something that I noticed too was that it was covering the whole Inland Empire. It was very much more in the broader Inland Empire region than here in the Coachella Valley. But now and then we would get those Coachella Valley alerts, which then I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like this is happening here right now, and it's with a confirmed and reliable source. So down the line, I saw a job opening, Coachella Valley organizer. I was like, phew, like, yes, finally, like they're coming over here. Like there'll be more and more of their services out here. And then I took a step back and I was like, wait, I could apply and be that for the IC4IJ. So it was a very grounding moment, and it came at a time in my life where I really knew that this was the next path that I was meant to be on. So now I'm honored to be a part of this organization, and I'm here to share with you the work that we do, that I've gotten to know.
Thank
and
you,
I'll hand it
Michelle.
over to Eddie. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's so well said.
Tell me when to scroll.
Oh, yeah,
scroll
please
for you.
stay. Thank you so much. Yeah, really thankful to have Michelle here representing ICAJ in the Coachella Valley. Thank you for the intro again, Eddie Torres, for announcing his. And I've been the policy director with ICAJ for the last 3 years now. And in my time, I've been an organizer as well. I was in Michelle's position at one point, organizing all over the Inland Empire, especially in the high desert area, covering Hesperia, Victorville, and Adelanto. And if you can go to the next slide, please. And I focused a lot on policy work. So here we talk about some of the campaigns that we have been working on at different levels from the state, local, and federal level. We anchored the Shutdown Adelanto Coalition, which is the coalition of 20 organizations that work to shut down the Adelanto ICE Processing Center. San Bernardino County, during the first Trump administration, had the highest ICE arrest rate in the whole country. And that's because of the Adelanto ICE Processing Center. When you have one of the largest detention facilities, you're going to see an uptick of arrests, just based on proximity and logistically how easier it is for them to pick up somebody, detain them, get them through the deportation pipeline. Luz mentioned a couple of like safety net campaigns, right? We're part of the Health for All campaign. So many other statewide coalitions, but Health for All, Medi-Cal for All, undocumented people. We're also part of a worker campaign called Californians United for Immigrant Worker Justice, which is a program for unemployment benefits for undocumented workers. During the pandemic, a lot of us got the opportunity to stop working for a few weeks while we got everything figured out during the pandemic. Undocumented workers did not, right? So this campaign is to get a EDD program for undocumented workers, and obviously with the huge community here in the Coachella Valley with farm workers, it would be an extreme benefit for them to have a couple of weeks off, know that the paycheck is coming, they're not going to put themselves at risk, right? We also anchored the IE Legal Roundtable. This is a great place for lawyers. If there's any lawyers here in this table, we have about 30 lawyers, pro bono, low bono law firms that are part of this. They support a lot with intakes and people that are calling our hotline, trying to figure out, hey, like my cousin got picked up from ICE, like how can I get legal representation for them? And we have a pretty broad network in the IE to help them along the way. Go to the next slide, please. So a little bit more about what we do. That's May Day. We organize the May Day March every year. This is in San Bernardino. We had over 1,000 people here. This is on the way to the ICE Processing Center in San Bernardino. There's a holding center there. They hold people there for about a day or two, and then from there they're transferred over to Adelanto, or one of the larger detention facilities. So we process it right in front of that facility, and we also do a lot of work with street vendors. Actually, in the past, we work directly with the former mayor and council members around the street vendor ordinance here in Palm Springs in the downtown area, and we've been hosting a lot of Know Your Rights training for street vendors over the last couple of months as well. We do a lot of rapid response, as you guys know, like Michelle mentioned. We also do a free diaper distribution every Wednesday at our office in San Bernardino. We have a lot of moms that come, a lot of parents that come. They get supplies, wipes. We even give away strollers and car seats. A lot of good stuff. I know it's all the way out in San Bernardino, so it's not ideal to recommend families to go out there. Maybe in the future we can bring this service to our office here with Alianza, so folks can take advantage of that situation.
With Alianza.
Yeah, Michelle, that's where she works out of, on her day-to-day basis from Alianza.
Yes, they're a coalition partner of ours.
And like I mentioned, I used to work in the high desert organizing community there. We do a lot of community events there, especially around education. We've also done a lot of work around water justice and climate resiliency. I'm really proud to say that because of that work over the last 5 years, we're bringing a community resilience center. This was a state-funded program that 9 organizations got funded for last year. So that's 9 community centers built in communities that are really rural, hard to reach, indigenous communities. About 4 of them are indigenous-led community centers. We are lucky enough to have 2 in the Inland Empire, one in San Bernardino, run by El Sol, and then the other one by us in Adelanto. So in the next couple of years, we're going to be building a community center, not just for community events, but actually for sheltering in case of a natural disaster and emergency. So that'll be really awesome to, break the big ground in the next couple of years or so. We do tours, so we do this thing called a High Desert Toxic Tour. We bring community members. We do a bus of 50 people or so at a time. We'd love to have one of you guys there at a future toxic tour later this year. And essentially what we do is we visit locations in the high desert that tell us the story of immigrant detention and the IE. So we visit the military base, and when it closed down, the George Air Force military base. When it closed down, it caused cities like Victorville and Adelanto to look for different economic opportunities. They turned to cannabis, and from cannabis, they turned to immigrant detention. And that's how we have the Adelanto Ice Processing Center. So we have folks that have lived in that military base, that have had their kids go to school there, and how that relates to water justice as well, because that area has a really high contamination rate of toxic chemicals. They were polluting the groundwater with nuclear material. So George Air Force Base had they were building nuclear material for nuclear weapons, and a lot of it went into the groundwater. And so we've been doing a lot of water advocacy with a lot of the immigrant community that lives in Victorville and Adelanto.
Great.
The next slide, please.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about our rapid response network so that y'all have some transparency as to how it works. So we run it for our regional area, so San Bernardino, Riverside County. So how it works is that our community reports ICE or Border Patrol activity to our hotline number. Our dispatcher creates an incident report and sends a responder alert, see if anyone's nearby. The dispatcher stays on the phone with the caller to provide advice if able to. Responders that have the capacity to respond text back on the way with their estimated time of arrival, and then they receive additional instructions from the dispatcher, such as details of what was reported, as well as any additional pictures. And then once the responder arrives at the scene, they document what is currently happening. If there's ongoing enforcement, they check to see what agency it is, how many agents are there, what are they doing, and document. It's very important. And then sometimes the responder gets there and there's nothing anymore. Most of the time, things happen really quickly, and especially here in our valley, it can take quite a while to get from here to Cathedral City. It took me 20 minutes, even though in my head I'm like, that's so nearby. So I've experienced, like, within 5 minutes, I get a text, I get there, there's nothing anymore. But so our responders confirm ongoing enforcement, or they clear the area. And then we also ask the responders if they feel comfortable to get down, even though the scene is clear. Are there any bystanders that saw what happened? Most of the time, that is where we get a lot of information, just by asking around, like, hey, did you happen to see this? And then we get additional details that we would have otherwise not gotten if we had just left the scene. So that's some insight as to how our rapid response network works. And these are our hotline cards that I'll be sharing with y'all that we've been spreading all over the valley. Next slide, please, Jeremy. So thanks to this rapid response network, we've been able to get data that the Department of Homeland Security would not give us otherwise. So on the map, I jotted down the 25 reports that we've gotten on our hotline since June of 2025, and then in the black are confirmed arrests. So as you can see, a lot of the reported enforcement that has come to our line is primarily in District 1, with then some other activity in the other districts scattered along as well. So even though we have 25 reports here. This is not at all representative of the actual enforcement that is happening in Palm Springs, along with the Coachella Valley. We have numbers, but they're not accurately reflecting the actual enforcement because the community isn't reporting everything that's happening all the time. So, something that I forgot to mention, out of those agencies, 21 of these reports were ICE, with one of them being a Home Depot raid in our Palm Springs Home Depot, and then 4 of them being Border Patrol sightings. The most recent one being, I'm not sure if you guys saw that viral video of the Border Patrol agent pointing a gun at a civilian. Yes, that was the green over there. So happening here in our city. And yeah, Eddie, is there anything else?
Yeah, I would just like to add on that we do a annual report. So the way that we typically break it down is by assembly and senate districts, because we do a lot of state advocacy, right? So every October, we host a roundtable at our office with elected officials. If you guys would like to request one that's broken down specifically for Palm Springs, we can do that as well. In October, we can have a much more detailed report with specific information about cases and things like that, right? I think it would be helpful if there's further advocacy that we can do with the city council down the line.
Yeah.
And we also have some work at the county level as well.
That would be awesome.
Yes, and the next slide, Jeremy. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the work that I've been doing with IC4IJ since my start back in March, I believe. Yeah, so I've been busy in connecting with the community. I represent the whole Coachella Valley, and even though I live in the West Valley, my office is in Coachella, so I've been getting to know the East Valley more and more. As a West Valley resident, we wouldn't really go to the East Valley, mostly just for like the Date Festival and all that, but I think we don't travel really far, like when we live here. So it's been really nice to get to know the entire valley more and more because I've lived here my whole life. So with my work with IC4IJ, we've been increasing awareness of our resources. We've been doing outreach to impacted communities following heavy periods of enforcement. In May, I believe the week of the 12th, there was an especially heavy time here in our West Valley, where there was just multiple reports coming in, one after another, especially in the very early mornings in our mobile home park communities of Santiago Sunrise Mobile Home Park and Golden Sands Mobile Home Park. So following that enforcement, our team was on the ground distributing our hotline cards, Know Your Rights cards, and just connecting with residents, letting them know of the enforcement that was happening, because most of the time it happens quietly. And it happens at just one little time frame of the day, and then residents who weren't there to witness it just go on with their life, not knowing that this happened right outside of their community. So a lot of intentional follow-up with impacted communities, and also connecting with local businesses and organizations. We recently partnered with Mendoza Coffee in downtown Palm Springs at the Mojave Flea Market in Eureka Valley. We partnered with them to host a donation and food drive where they accepted donations from community members, and Mendoza just really wanted to be seen as an ally to our migrant communities because of the big need that there is right now. So they reached out to us, and we've developed a really fruitful partnership. Through their donations, we were able to serve 10 impacted families. I think 3 of them were from Palm Springs, like 1 in Desert Hot Springs, and then all the way to Mecca. So out of those 10, we really reached the entire Coachella Valley. And we also facilitated pickups at Mendoza Coffee as well. So a lot of connecting with the local organizations and just letting them know that we're here to stay too, and just see how we could become partners, because we're a coalition. We do not do this alone. And then with that, starting local advocacy, and then also coming soon, community education and workshops as I start to find venues and hosts.
That's great.
Thank you. I think we got one more for you all today. Yes. So, probably to get ahead of the questions, what can we do? What further can we do here at the city, at this commission, at the city council level, right? We've been working intensely at the local level for the last couple of years with cities like Riverside, Jurupa Valley, Moreno Valley, even Paris. This year we have a larger focus in San Bernardino County, so we worked really closely with Montclair and San Bernardino. With Montclair, in May, we were able to start a legal fund. So it's only $50,000, and I say only because there's a lot of activity in Montclair as well. But it's a beginning, it's a step forward, it's a step in the right direction. So we're really excited about starting the first legal fund in the Inland Empire for immigrant services. And that could be anything from legal services to food assistance to paying the rent, right? Utilities, paying off your electricity, all that good stuff for families that have been directly impacted by ICE enforcement or federal law enforcement. We have been knocking on the door of different cities and also the counties as well, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, to find out what can they do at their jurisdiction to support immigrant communities. And a lot of times we come across elected officials, they want to do something, they're interested in doing something, maybe they just don't know where to start, right? I think the legal fund route is a great route to start off with. Yes, like Luis mentioned, when we pass resolutions and languages like sanctuary language, I think it is really powerful to do that, but I think it's also more powerful to add additional steps and resources behind it, like legal protection, right? Like paying for somebody's utilities and rent. So in Montclair, we're establishing that at the very moment. We just had a meeting with the city manager last week. With the city of San Bernardino, we're starting a $500,000 fund, hopefully soon, fingers crossed. We've been talking to the council and the city manager and the city attorney. Everything's looking good, but again, I don't want to say it's going to happen yet, but it's looking pretty good. And we're hoping to maybe do that here in Palm Springs. I think there's a good opportunity here with the council. I think there's a good opportunity here with you all, with your support as well, to establish a legal fund, especially for the next couple of years, but further down the line, they can come from general fund dollars. And we have a breakdown. We have a presentation for San Bernardino that we can share with you all to see what it will look like to break everything down, depending on how much the fund is, right? But it would be something that we hope to bring to the Coachella Valley, hopefully in the future. And also at the county level, we have a campaign right now where we're trying to build an Office of Immigration Services. This is something that LA did during the first Trump administration. Orange County has done this. So many counties up in the Bay Area have established the Office of Immigration Services. Essentially what they do, they're a one-stop shop for these services. So if you're going to sign up for food stamps, if you're going to pay off anything, property taxes, if you're going to the county building, from right there you can find somebody that can help you sign up for Medi-Cal if you're undocumented. You can find TODIC, you can find IC4IJ, you can find an attorney. So it's a one-stop shop, and again, modeling this after what other counties have done to bring to Riverside County. We've been advocating with Supervisor Perez's office, Supervisor Medina and Gutierrez to bring this. Hopefully this year, if not, continue forward, and hopefully in the next couple of years, bring it to the county.
Thank you for that.
And with that, that's all for you all today. We just have our contact info on the next slide, but I'm sure Michelle can also follow up and send it over to you all.
We're going to keep that up there for public to see. I would thank you so much for that incredible presentation and sharing what your coalition does. I wanted to clarify that for the public that IC4IG stands for Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice. It's a mouthful, but it's better to say it out than just the initials. So hopefully that makes a little more clarity. And with that, I would like to open up for commissioners with questions or follow-up comments. Rinke.
I have a question about the legal funds that you're developing, especially through the city that you talked about. Do you worry about, and the one-stop shop to apply for Medi-Cal, for food stamps or whatever, do you worry about the ICE agents being able to capture that information and use it to possibly track down more undocumented?
They already have Medi-Cal information. So 70% of Medi-Cal in California gets funded through the federal government. Earlier this year, that information is now handed over to the federal government. Before, they weren't able to do that, but now California is sending that information over. And then very recently, the DMV is starting to share now that information of folks that have AB60 driver's licenses, right? So people that don't have papers have that AB60 license. Now that information is also given to them. So we're not worried because that information is already accessible to ICE and the federal law enforcement agencies, right? Luis mentioned flock cameras as well. That's something that we were also fighting Montclair to do away with, to cancel the contract with flock. And we just saw LAPD cancel their contract with flock, and hopefully we're seeing other cities start to do the same because we do have flock cameras here in Palm Springs, and they do track ARLP, your automatic license plate readers. All that information gets sent over to fusion centers, so it gets centralized in these warehouses and these places where these data is being held. So it doesn't matter if Palm Springs has a policy that says, we're not sharing any information with ICE. That's your policy, that's fantastic, because Flock doesn't have that policy. That information will go to the Fusion Center, and then from there, Border Patrol, ICE will send an email to the Fusion Center, can I get this and that information? And then from there, maybe find somebody that lives here, right? So
how do you protect against that?
by state law. So we've been working on state law. We're co-sponsoring a couple of bills to do away with fusion centers in California as a whole. We're running into some issues in the legislature to try to do that, but also at the local level, local cities can cancel the contract with Flock so that we don't have that issue as much as it is out here.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
If I could ask a question, I'm curious, how are you funded?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again, Beverly?
How are you funded?
So we're funded either through philanthropic investment, so we have foundations that support the work that we do. You can think of the California Foundation, you can think of Irvine. There's a lot of other foundations that support nonprofits like the ones that we have in the Inland Empire. We also do a lot of donations from community members as well, right? So we have grants. They come in from the state or they come in from different entities that are giving grants. For example, the street vendor work that we did a couple years ago, that was fully funded through the state. It was an $800,000 grant to support street vendor advocacy, know your rights, training, entrepreneurship build-up for a couple of years.
Is there, could you estimate to me how much percentage-wise is government and how much is public philanthropy?
The vast majority is philanthropy. Yeah, I would.
Majority is? How many employees do you have?
I'm sorry, what?
How many employees do you have?
We have 17 employees, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner McAlpin.
How many people are in the Coachella Valley are part of the rapid response team?
We have about 90, and then specifically in Palm Springs, we have about 13, and we're active in those numbers. But something that we've been running into is that we're not getting a lot of community reports for our responders to respond to. So actively working on increasing that awareness so that we get those reports in, and then also increasing our legal observer base.
Okay.
Commissioner Lilly.
On the topic of data, are you aware whether the state of California has any mechanisms or systems in place to capture similar data to what you're capturing in terms of arrests and the characteristics of these arrests throughout California?
The Attorney General Rob Bonta has a dashboard, and the federal government does as well. So the AG, if you go on their website, they have a dashboard where you can submit cases and incidents. So for example, if you go to our Instagram and you look at all the rapid response work that we're doing there, we can submit incidents to that dashboard and the state will keep track of everything that's happening. So it's out there. It's been out there for over a year now. Not a lot of community orgs or people are actually using it. I think that's more so on the end of like the AG not doing that outreach and building that community trust, because a lot of our community right now isn't the most willing to just send over information to a state agency. So there's a problem there. But what we do with our hotline report data is we make it into a report, a physical report, and we talk to legislators and we talk to community members and we do the education on the ground. We also submit that over to the Attorney General. So hopefully they can use that in lawsuits or litigation down the line.
Further comments or questions, commissioners? With that,
I have
one more, Lily.
Does your organization have a relationship with the Palm Springs Police Department? Do you coordinate with them? Do you meet with them, share information, or?
No, but it would be good to have maybe like the deputy, the chief, their phone number or anything, because just this morning I had to go through a contact to get a hold of the San Bernardino County Sheriff to find out some information of what happened in San Bernardino this morning. There was an ICE operation where and they were chasing somebody. He crashed his car into two other vehicles and then ran inside the Cardenas, and then it was this whole thing. In order for me to figure out exactly what happened, I had to talk to the sheriff, but it took me a couple of steps to get there. So we haven't done that. I don't think we've done that outreach here with local PD, but if if it's available to share their contact information, I'll be happy to have it just in case.
We will certainly make sure that we bring this information to our local PD. And so Jeremy, if we can make that a point.
Already got a note.
Yep, great. Yeah, we're thinking the same. So thank you so much for this incredible introduction of the services that you provide and the work that you do. And so with that, we thank you. The public now knows how to get in touch if you need to get in touch. But certainly, there'll be more for us. And as things progress, we're very likely to invite you to come back and share, a follow-up of what's happening, how the organization is making strides, and what else can the community and the city might be able to do to assist your efforts. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. We'd be happy to.
Thank you. Another great discussion point. So far, so good? You're doing okay?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So we're going to move on to the next item in the agenda, which is disability access issues. It's item 10C. Who's leading this discussion? Is it Malachi? Commissioner Strong. Commissioner Strong, the floor is yours.
So I kind of want to share a little bit of my personal experience. In the last 3 to 6 months, I've seen an increase of illegal parking in the disability spaces, specifically at my apartment, certain local stores around town. I was at a local establishment recently, and I couldn't leave because they had blocked all the ways for me to get out. People are parking in the blue lines, and I've gotten people have rolled their eyes at me, like when I try to say something. It takes away personally my independence because I do have a van that I'm able to get in and out of independently. But if someone's parked illegally, then I have to wait for a caregiver to move my car, which is often dangerous because we usually have to just back up and hope no one hits while I'm trying to load. And I've just seen it seems like more and more. There was a couple weekends ago, I was trying to leave my apartment and someone had parked in all the disability spaces. So there was no way for me to leave. And I got nervous because I was saying, well, what if there was an emergency? No, I wouldn't be able to get out of this situation. And luckily, I was able to squeeze by the car. But if I had hit that car, then I would have been blamed for damages. And I just come to the commission to see if we could work together because I know that I'm not the only one. I don't know if we could do flyers, a survey to see what other people are experiencing, if we could maybe reach out to other businesses or start some sort of initiative because it's kind of blocking me from wanting to go places in the community because it's a lot of work as a disabled person already to get around. And so when you have to consider people not following laws, it makes it hard. And so I have found myself really picking and choosing things that I want to do. And I know that Palm Springs is very big on inclusivity and all the things, especially when it comes to pride and LGBT things. But I don't think we can talk about that without thinking about access and accessibility. And I know if it's affecting me day to day, we don't know how other people are being affected. And it takes a lot for me to get frustrated, but not being able to leave my home or risking damage. There have been times where I have contemplated jumping a curb just to get somewhere that I needed to because it was faster. I've tried to call the police. Typically, that takes a long time. When I was at the local establishment, they ended up having to call the police it became a whole thing. It's also kind of embarrassing because it puts my disability at the forefront, and I don't necessarily try to hide it, but sometimes I'm just out trying to live my life,
Mhm.
and I just kind of wonder if I'm having this experience, what is it like for other people in the community? Um, and I don't know what we can do, but I've been trying to, I've had conversations with Grace. I'm just trying to find a way to make sure that when we talk about inclusivity, we're thinking about access.
Mhm.
Because I do want to be out more in the community, but I will say that it definitely affects me wanting to do things. Because if I'm going to go through all these things to plan to get somewhere, I kind of lose energy when I have to fight just to like get in and out of a place.
Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. I think, you just kind of put it in a way that it not only brings urgency, but also brings the question as to how do we get the city engaged with this and the community to get engaged with this? Who's going to be able to kind of take this and put out a survey and see what other citizens with disabilities might be experiencing? I know the planning commission and with all of the development that is happening should have accessibility as part of the planning, right? The planning commission is definitely a commission that needs to be engaged as well as infrastructure. But you mentioned that City Council Gardner's already been in conversations with you about this. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell us what has transpired out of that conversation and what is your,
I think she had a conversation trying to figure out if I should contact police when it happens or code enforcement. Because when I try to bring it to the attention of my apartment complex, I usually just get told to call the police.
Mhm.
As a Black person who is also disabled, that's anxiety provoking. And so most of the time I just end up going back in the house because sometimes it's just not worth the fight. I even sent Scott a picture this morning that he can share if he would like of my car being blocked in. So if I had to get to work this morning, there was no way for me to get out.
yeah. So Commissioner Strunk, you bring something really important, and I want to bring this to other commissioners if you're not aware, but also to the public. There is an app that the city has created and it's out there. It's called My Palm Springs,
Right.
My Palm Springs City app. Um, What's really important is that the moment you open the app, there's a big button that says report an issue. And I know people that have used it to connect with code enforcement. And I have actually seen personally code enforcement show up to the scene rather quickly. So if you didn't know that this app existed and for the public, I'm going to say that please take a look at the city app that allows you to report situations like this. That's only one recommendation. Clearly, we need to engage the community to find out the extent of this issue and then to have the city and the city council engage with it as well so that it gets the attention that it deserves. Commissioner McAlpin.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, whose responsibility is it to enforce? Like,
Code enforcement.
I mean, so,
We have code enforcement.
It's the police, actually.
The police,
so like,
Parking is the police.
okay? So we get back to, we have to contact the police.
Well,
I'd like to make a couple of comments to particularly Commissioner Strong. I really, having dealt with the handicapped community for many, many years, I know how frustrating it can be and how awful it is when people abuse the use of the handicapped spaces. On the other side of it, I don't think that we can ignore the fact that we have a very strong and huge aging community here with medical reasons that perhaps may not be as evident as people that have ambulatory issues or people that really require the use of the handicap spaces. And I'm wondering if we, along with making sure that we are enforcing the fact that they are indeed handicapped and they are using these spaces appropriately, whether or not we need to take a greater look at do we really have enough spaces? Are we allocating enough of our areas to make sure that our population is being served appropriately? I think there's nothing more specious than somebody who doesn't need a handicap parking space to take one. But is that the whole issue? And I think that we have to be careful rather than just sort of leap forward. And obviously, we have to enforce, and we have to make sure that the police are enforcing, and that we're able. But we also perhaps need to look at a bigger picture, as the fact of so many aging people and so many people that have health issues that really do require closer parking. They require that additional help.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a thought, more of a short-term solution, but if the problem is in your apartment where you live, get somebody from the police department or code enforcement to come and talk to them and do some enforcement locally for you and where you live.
Absolutely.
And then the other businesses that you want to cater to, those too, if there's a problem with no parking spaces, having the police talk to, or working with a liaison to talk to those business owners about the enforcement of those spaces. But, doing locally, touching the touch points of where you do business and where you're having a problem finding spaces might be helpful to you personally.
So to speak to that, I mean, we sort of started this conversation because I, having served on this commission with Malachi, have become friends and we follow each other on Instagram, and I would see these stories that Malachi would post, and it felt like almost every other day Malachi was going out and was blocked or was somewhere and couldn't enter a building because code was not being followed. It just was a repeated problem, and we talked about it, and I brought it up here and I said, what can we do? This morning, as Malachi said, he sent me a picture that is a car not in a handicapped spot. It's in the crossed out spot that says, I don't want to show because somebody's license plate is in it, but it says no parking. Like, it's very clear. And so I agree with an aging community that we do have here in Palm Springs. It's important to remember we have people with mobility issues that will need help, need closer spots. And maybe, yes, it is looking into, do we need more? But just the irony of it is that in this exact photo, the handicap spot next to where they are parked is empty. So, Malachi could not get out, was trapped, and brought up a great point that we didn't even talk about, Malachi, which is like, if there's an emergency, if there's a fire, if there's something. So, yes, I agree, touch points, but I almost feel like that's where we could become touch points, is like, how do we, I know we always go back to this, how do we educate better? How do we, how does the city educate better and make sure people are following these codes and laws?
And think about how many businesses there are that have these required parking spots.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you monitor it? It's a very global question that deserves more discussion.
But if you look at a lot of the businesses, they're not providing the kind of spaces that Commissioner Strong needs. They're providing just the parking spots without the access on the sides, which is really critical. You need to have that ability to get in and out of the van, and I think that's what happens is people just pull into that area because it seems to be too big, and it's very difficult to look at when it's being striped properly. That takes up a lot of room, but it may be required. We may not really be providing enough of those for our population that it actually exists, and I think we really need to look at it from a research point of view and look and see exactly what our needs are in our community.
I just want to ask Councilmember Garner, is it a county controlled thing? Is it a state control, taking care of making sure people are complying besides just police with parking issues?
The ADA is really the one thing that monitors how all of this is done. So how your
how the space is drawn, et cetera, that's all under ADA. And there's a lot of ADA rules that are not actually enforced, or not even it's enforced, that just don't happen, right? It's expensive, or ADA laws change. If you noticed, a lot of the curbs were being worked on in Palm Springs recently, and some people were complaining about them. Why did they change? ADA law changed. We had to comply, right? So we're always trying to keep up as a city with all of this. Is it perfect? No, it's a lot to do. And I think that's part of, Malachi, raised this to me too. How can the Human Rights Commission move forward with some meaningful opportunities for this city to do like better disability access? For me, as a council member, if you all could really take charge on this type of issue, I think that would help us a lot, because then we could say, oh, Human Rights Commission presented this list of things that we can do. It's already vetted out, it's already looked at, and it would be, in my opinion, like something feel good for you all that is tangible, right?
Yeah.
Two thoughts. First, in terms of education, Malachi mentioned that he's having difficulty even getting out of his own home, which I'm sure is obviously a private property. Maybe educating business owners about the liability for them. I mean, if there was an emergency and Malachi was unable to get out and the building owner was not ensuring that people were parking properly, that building owner could be liable.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing is maybe, and again, I don't know if this would be something that the state would have to initiate or the city could initiate, just doing an accessibility review, a citywide accessibility review. I mean, that sounds like it would take a really long time, and it might. Determining, first of all, are there appropriate number of parking spaces? Are they the correct measurements? Just some thoughts.
Mhm. And so for the public, ADA stands for the Americans with Disabilities Act, just to clarify that. So yeah, it starts to sound like this is going to become an ad hoc subcommittee project where we can come up with a list of recommendations to council based on this information, based on the data, based on what the public might be able to contribute, so that the council be better informed and the council can then take meaningful action. As a commission, obviously, part of it is education, so that's part of the education piece. That's going to fall into the already formed ad hoc committee for education. So it starts to sound like this would be another great opportunity to form an ad hoc subcommittee for this commission to take on it and create that list of recommendations. What do y'all think?
I agree.
It's a great idea.
Greer, yes? Brent Robles?
May I add, first of all, Commissioner Strong, thank you for addressing this concern, and you are as strong as your last name. I would also like to suggest, and kind of, since we are educating commission and board, send out, and it sounds like it's the central part of your struggle with respect to people not respecting the laws, and starts at your residence. Why not create a flyer and cite the laws and cite the code and provide a telephone number on there, and even maybe educate them on what type of fine they could face if they do not adhere to the codes. That sounds like you could start a flyer over there, and that's your central struggle right there. Maybe start a flyer right there and hand it to the landlord or the property management and ask them to pass it out to the rest of the residents.
Councilmember Gardner, is there a way that could be disseminated through districts if it was to be shared with the public, the way other important information from the city comes to residents?
Yeah, our communications team can share information. There's a lot of different ways that we do that.
Okay, so that subcommittee could also create the contents of that particular flyer as means of education to residents of the city of Palm Springs.
If the commissioners wanted to create something like that, we'd connect you with our communications team, to do that.
To
Because
take on.
if it's coming from the city, we have our own branding and all of this stuff that we
Sure.
do. You don't have to do that, but that can certainly be passed on.
So, but we can make the recommendation of what needs to be contained in this flyer as a mean of education
Yes.
to the residents of the city, and then coordinate with our staff liaison and the communications department of the city, because they'll have to take it on to execute,
Right.
correct?
Regarding code enforcement, who are responsible for this, do we have any data on code?
This is city, this is police, Renke.
Parking specifically falls under police. We've been looking into this, but we can certainly, if whatever the ad hoc subcommittee wants, if they want data on code enforcement related to accessibility issues, we can certainly provide that. We can pull that information from the police department as well. So, yeah, there's certainly opportunities there for data.
Lily?
I just wanted to go a step further on this, idea that you have, which is great, but just to point out that ADA law can be very nuanced. Well, it is very nuanced and complicated, and it may not all, what's relevant to, say, a business owner may not all be able to be, it may not all fit on a flyer. And I'm just wondering if we maybe need to even explore, taking this great idea that you have a step further and actually, look at, identifying an ADA expert and, creating some kind of little short video that we can have on the city's website, or maybe even having like a town hall where we invite business owners to come in and learn about the potential liabilities of not, having an awareness of ADA law.
Yeah, those are great ideas, and that's what the ad hoc subcommittee will take on. That will be part of the core work that the ad hoc subcommittee, and I would like to recommend to the commission that Commissioner Strong leads that ad hoc committee, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Commissioner Strong? That would be fantastic, because this is an issue that is impacting you personally. And I think you will be perfectly suited to lead that. And then form this ad hoc subcommittee in coordination with our staff liaison, Jeremy.
We can form it right here if we get some hands.
If we get some hands, yes. Like, who would like to join Commissioner Strong in leading this particular work? We can have up to 3, right?
You can have up to 4.
Up to 4, okay. Okay, so Greer, Robles, Lily, and Commissioner Strong leading the ad hoc. Excellent. We don't need to even discuss or take a vote on this. Great. Thank you, Commissioner Strong, for that share, and also for stepping up to the plate to lead this. This is very important to you and to everyone in the community who's facing similar challenges and issues.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Oh, this is awesome. All right, moving on to item 10D. I'm going to ask Commissioner Nevins to provide an update on the Pride Fact celebration and collaboration.
All right. For our new commissioners, I had proposed this idea. There's actually 2 separate ideas living under one umbrella, so I'm going to split them. One was we were invited for all of us to help raise, the very large pride flag that's on arenas. They want us to be the people who come and raise it on the 1-year anniversary of when that flag was first raised. So I guess we'll discuss and take a vote if we want to do that. I hope we will. I think that'd be really great for us. The second part of it was an idea that this is our 40th year of Pride in Palm Springs. And the one thing that we haven't done that I thought would be really exciting to do is that we've never lined the street of Palm Canyon with the Pride flags. We actually only do Veterans Day, we do the American flag, which is amazing. There's specific poles that go on the ground and they put and it's beautiful. So the thought was we could do that. It turned out to be much more complicated than my original idea, but I think we've unraveled it a little bit, and what I want to discuss today is just how are we in agreement still. Our previous commissioners were all in agreement, but again, we can discuss it and see if we like the idea, how we would make it happen. It's a little intricate about how it happens. I believe what we've discovered is we have to work in conjunction with parks, and they would install and figure out where to purchase the flags.
A little bit more nuance than that, in that we've learned that Palm Springs Pride has already sort of identified which poles they're gonna be using. So we need to work with Pride to figure out if they want to give up their flags, which will have the dates of Pride, and swap those out, either in totality. Those are the spaces that Park said were available.
Those are different. And that's what I realized we were getting caught up on, is that
Okay.
those are the ones that are on like lampposts, right? These are poles that they put in. There's actual holes in the ground for them for Veterans Day. So that's what I was confused about that too. So if we can go back to Parks and clarify, that's what we were talking about, were the poles that are used for Veterans Day. I just think for the 40th anniversary, for a city that prides itself on being very inclusive and supportive, I think it would be a great show. We can be obviously very flexible on how long they're up there for, the city obviously will have ideas of how long they want it there. Personally, it would be great to do it for the entire Pride week leading up to the parade and including that Sunday, which is the parade. But I think it's a easy, wonderful, actionable item for our commission, and something that is really wonderful for the city and a lot of its residents.
I agree.
Commissioners,
Yes.
comments, questions?
No.
Yes, no.
I agree.
So you're taking on this, are you doing this on your own? Is this something that we also need to consider as, and not just this particular celebration of Pride, but anything and everything LGBTQ related with our community, right? We're talking about parades, we're talking about advocacy, we're talking about inclusivity, all of those things under the umbrella of. Does this sound like another ad hoc committee led by Commissioner Nevins?
No.
What
No, it
does it
sounds like
sound like?
one idea. You see what he does? You see that? No, I think, to be honest, I agree with you, but I do think for this, I think it is just this one separate, the invite and then this idea, I think is to discuss for now because also to talk about, the ins and outs of how does it get paid for? How do we?
Where's the
'cause
budget
there's
coming from?
The budget for labor and for the flags themselves, right? I know we have the poles, but the flags have to be purchased and labor to put them in. So that is something that we.
So how do we raise the budget for this?
So we don't have a budget for this.
Yeah.
And in talking with Parks, we're gonna have two costs. There's gonna be a cost of the flags, and there's going to be a secondary cost of putting up the flags. I didn't know about the pole on the ground, but what I did cost out was the flags, I think they call it castle flags. Those to have up are $27 per flag per week. So that's the cost of installation, maintenance, and keeping them up there. I don't know the cost of the smaller ones, but we need to factor that into the discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we figured out the cost, which is important, right? We need to be able to provide real numbers.
We did get an estimate from Palm Springs Pride, from Jasmine at Pride. She's the one that did a prior presentation to us, that they're guesstimating or estimating somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 for the flags.
Okay, so once we figured out that piece, the numbers and the budget, how do we move that forward to be able to get the funds to execute? And who leads that?
We'd want to send a letter to the city manager asking to take it to the council to figure out if we're looking for council support of doing this.
Because it's not part of the approved budget.
There's no budget for this item, and there's no budget assigned to the HRC.
Correct. So that's us figuring out the cost and then putting it in front of the city manager's desk to see if they can find the funds so that this can happen.
Correct.
And so, obviously, city council members have discretionary funds that they can pull from that would easily cover this if each of them put in a little bit. Or, the city of Palm Springs is a legally qualified charitable beneficiary. So they have a tax identification number. People do make donations. This happened. There was a $160,000 gift to the city provided to help support for the film festival. So the public could also, if there was somebody in the public or on this commission who wanted to give money to underwrite, the flags, that would be possible too. So there's many avenues to make it happen. It's just up to us to say, do we want to do this? And then send Jeremy to go back and talk to Parks and figure out actual pricing. And then we come back in September.
September meeting.
Because we are off for August.
August is off.
Yeah. And then we come back in September, which is great because then we'll have the information, we vote, and it becomes a real thing. And then November, we have flags.
So let's say that we raise enough funds to underwrite this project, by all means, and by any and all means. And we still have to get the blessing from the city manager's office, right? To execute and to work with perhaps Pride or another organization to help us
Yes,
make this possible,
yes.
correct?
Yeah, and I have to say though, I was thinking about it on my drive here. I don't think we even have to work with Pride, because if Parks and Rec are going to be the ones doing it, it's so great we get to partner with them instead. So we don't even have to have Pride be a part of it. So that removes that aspect of it. It's actually just we're doing it at the same time of their celebration. This is the city's contribution of doing this for the anniversary.
And it will be the Department of Parks and Recreation, not just the Commission of Parks and Recreation, but in collaboration with that commission as well. So it really feels like collaborative.
Doesn't the Pride CEO have lots of funds available to be able to fund this? Or do you want to keep this separate from?
I think we want to keep it separate, right? Because then that would be a Pride initiative. And because it was sort of an idea that I came up with, and I was very honest that I did reach out to Rhonda Hart, who was a council member, but also leads Pride. And I said, I have this idea for the 40th anniversary. He said, great, bring it to HRC. And I think there was confusion over whether we were partnering with Pride about it. We're not. This is an initiative. This is our initiative.
So it's the commission's initiative.
I see.
We are initiating this and
Couldn't we collaborate with Pride? I mean,
there's nothing stopping us from not collaborating with them.
We can. I think it gets more difficult because then whose initiative is it if you're collaborating, I think it's, to me, I guess what I'm saying is, to me, it feels more special if it's coming from the city.
Yeah.
Because Pride, that's what they do, right? They do Pride. But if it's the city of Palm Springs and our commission putting these flags up, it's kind of a beautiful statement at a time where, as blessed as we are in this city, at a time where like LGBTQ rights and people are under attack every single day, it is something that is personally just very important to me. And I love the vision of the streets lined with it as a message.
just playing devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
doesn't the city give the Pride organization quite a large donation toward the Pride festivals?
I can't answer to that. I don't know.
Okay.
I know. But I also know that Pride has also made donations to other organizations. You know what I mean? So I think it's a back and forth. But I know what you mean. But, I don't think the amount is insurmountable either. So that's the good news, is that I think we could easily find community members, or if council members want to use their discretionary funds. And as I say that, I always say, Jeremy will check if that's correct and if that's the right thing to do. But I think that's an easy win.
Yeah. So whoever is going to be funding or helping us fund, obviously, will need to get recognition. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And if the commission is definitely initiating this, then it really has to be somehow posted in the HRC page and other communications media channels and the likes. I think this is great.
Thank you.
I think it goes on brand with the city and inclusivity. Commissioner Robles?
Yes, Commissioner Nevins. So are you asking for us to assist you as well as putting up the flags, being part of the bigger flag? Okay.
Yeah, so there's
cool.
two things there. The bigger flag is, do we take a vote on that if we want to be a part of that invitation, or do we just accept it? I don't think we
In a
need a
formal
vote.
vote, I think if we just get concurrence amongst the group that we'd like to participate.
So
Yes,
if
we like.
Yeah, if we break it into two things. The first one is the invitation to come and raise the big Pride flag. I guess if we would like to take part in that, I think that's wonderful, and hopefully we have an agreement on that.
Yes.
And then the second part, I don't think we'd be installing the flags ourselves. I think that's what Parks and Rec comes in, but I do think
Ceremonially.
Yeah, ceremonially,
We're there,
we would-
representing the commission and
Okay.
wearing our badges and saying, we're here.
Yes, and we're
Okay?
proud.
And we're
Yes.
proud.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
perfect.
Great. Any further comments to this particular point in the agenda?
So I guess we just revisit this in September. We'll have more.
And some
Yes.
more research.
As a reminder,
Sorry, I put this in
August,
your lap.
boards and commissions go dark, so we will not have a meeting in August. The next meeting after this will be in September. Just a point of clarification. Okay, great, thank you. Tag, you're it. We're moving on to item 10E with the development of educational materials, and I'd like to ask Commissioner and Professor Remus to lead this.
Thank you, Commissioner Hugo. So I'm pretty sure some of you knew what happened the last commission meeting when we had the discussion. You do? Okay, you watched it. So for those of you that do not know what happened, it was a very interesting meeting where we had a lot of participation from the city residents. In fact, there was an article that was posted that stated, City Human Rights Commission hears discrimination accounts, considers anti-bias education push. Does everybody recall this article?
Yeah.
Rinky?
Yeah.
Yes. So in response to that, I would like to make sure that we would possibly consider having an ad hoc committee that creates those educational materials. And the reason why I like this article, because it encapsulates in the first paragraph pretty much what happened and what transpired. So it says, the Palm Springs Human Rights Commission on Monday heard accounts of racial discrimination and exclusion in the city from multiple residents, several describing specific incidences at a local bar, before outlining plans to develop community-wide anti-bias educational resources. So I'm here to ask if anybody would like to join me on this ad hoc committee to form such educational materials.
I would. I'm just really giving myself. I'll help you with the flags. I'll help you with.
You're ready to install them.
I'm ready to help you install it. With Commissioner Strong as well.
Why don't you
what is it
provide,
that-
why don't you provide just a quick
Yes.
Explanation of the effort that you're going to lead, so that.
Yes,
for new
basically,
commissioners.
it's educational materials to post on the city website that educates businesses on how to deal with discrimination issues within their stores, within their businesses, but also how to be more inclusive with their staff, how to have promote inclusivity. Because, going back to the Palm Springs City statement that you read, one of the key issues that we're talking about here is that Palm Springs is a very inclusive city. And we would like to live up to that, right? So when the residents were here at the last meeting, you heard a lot of details about microaggressions, a lot of comments here and there, and some of the racial disparities that you heard about and stuff. So these are just some of the things that would help businesses figure out how to deal with such actions.
Mhm. And also, I would like to add to that, that's great, that's a great context. I'd like to add to that, we started having conversations with our police chief and the department about understanding and helping the public understand the difference between what it is hate speech versus a hate crime. And a lot of it will be considered, not very pleasant speech, but not a crime. So we got to be clear about that. And also, through these conversations with the public, we're hearing a lot about the concept and the idea of creating safe spaces. Creating safe spaces is kind of the umbrella theme or the unifying theme that will thread through this particular effort, if you want to call it that way. So you're going to be leading the charge with this particular work as an ad hoc committee. And I think what the invitation is if anyone in the commission would like to join Commissioner Remus, Professor Remus, to lead the work so that we can create really great materials that can be disseminated to the public, and we'll figure out ways to disseminate them to the public so that everyone feels that, yes, Palm Springs is an inclusive, welcoming city, and that we are helping people understand what is creating a safe space for everyone, not just for some. Am I good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to be involved, but I just wanted to say that for all of these subcommittees that I'm signing up for, the sooner we know how frequently we're meeting and when, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, I am assuming that we'll probably just meet about 3 times, approximately 3 times. And what I'll do is I'll start to draft some educational materials, and I would like your input or specific revisions or maybe things that I missed in the materials, so that way we can all come up with these materials collaboratively. And this is something that we could, with the City Council's approval, of course, is that the City Council can possibly put this on the website for businesses to actually adhere to actually look at, because you can't make a business read something. But for example, if they're applying for a business license, the city can always possibly refer them to, this is, a guide for your new business that's going to be in in the city of Palm Springs, and we just want to live up to our motto, right?
And it can also
Of
be-
inclusivity.
And it can also be sent with the renewal of the business license that the city sends out every year. Because every single business in the city that is registered as a business license
Has to renew.
grantee will have to renew every year. So with the renewal, that could be a nice little pamphlet that goes with the renewal. I mean, I'm just speaking out loud as a thought. But that is the impetus of this particular ad hoc committee, is education. Right? And we'll figure out the ways and the avenues in which these materials can be disseminated.
Along with the parking information.
And exactly.
Commissioner Rivas, now, I would agree to, join and help you in this. However, you said about meeting 3 times. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Oh, that means Zoom meetings.
Okay.
Most convenient of all, possibly, right? Zoom,
Yes,
a
because
Zoom
I-
meeting
because
that's
most of
convenient
us
for
work.
all ad hoc committee members.
Yeah. What time?
Oh, well, a time that's convenient for the majority of us.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I don't think it has to be set right now.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be set in
Doesn't have
stone.
to be
I just kind of give it an idea.
Yeah, it's
give it an
approximately
idea.
3 times. You'll be looking at some drafts. It'll be a time that will be most convenient for all ad hoc committees members.
Commissioner Rivas, I agree with you, and I'll be part of your team.
Wasn't that wonderful?
Great.
Thank you.
So I have Commissioners Remus, McAlpin, Lillian Robles. Did I get that right?
So we got Renee and we got Sarah. Yes?
Yes.
Frank, did you raise your hand
Yeah,
as
I
well?
can- yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, that's great.
So there's our 4.
Great way to get started as commissioners. Fantastic. Thank you for leading this, Bobby. This is so important, equally important as what Malachi is leading.
Oh, great.
So,
You're welcome.
and you'll bring up updates to the commission?
Yes, in September.
And we'll agendize that for September as an update in the agenda? Are you gonna be able to, Scott, are you gonna be able to provide something on Pride in September as an update?
Yeah, I'll work with you, yes. Also, can I make a correction on something that was said? So just to, as you can see, Councilmember Rhonda Hart is with us, has been with us all meeting, and as he leads Pride, he did say that the city covers in-kind city costs related to the festival and parade, but there is never any cash given from the city to Palm Springs Pride. So, organization, I just wanted to make that clear.
So no financial contributions, but in-kind contributions. Councilmember The Hart, thank you for clarifying that. Great. All right. Are we going to be able to move on to the next item without the city clerk?
I've confirmed that I am able to host the election of chair and vice chair, and similar to the way we did it last time. It's an informal process. So what we did last time was ask for a show of hands of who would like to run for chair, who would like to run for vice chair. If it's only one person, we'll quickly raise our hand. If multiple people, we can give kind of a quick 2 cents of why you're interested, and then we'll take a vote.
Yeah, I have a question. Is Don Suhat no longer with the commission?
He's no longer part of the commission.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So we can
So-
start with chair, if we have a show of hands of who would like to run for the chair oralship.
Okay, so if any one of our commissioners present and online would like to run for this particular chair, please raise your hand and provide your remarks. If none, I'm going to raise my hand. Because I just want to know that, I want to tell you first and foremost that it's been obviously a phenomenal experience for myself leading this commission. And I'm entering my last year as chair and also as commissioner in this particular appointment. Each and every single one of us serves at the pleasure of the council. And we should not take this lightly, okay? It's very important that we keep this in mind. And, it's my last year. I'd like to continue serving as the chair of this commission and, see the work that we've started a few years ago through, but also thinking a lot about continuity. And since we have new commissioners and we have commissioners who've been here with us for a few years, I would respectfully ask for your vote to help me maintain this chairmanship position for the last year of my appointment, and I'll promise I'll continue to do the work that is required to lead this body of work.
Awesome. I move to have Hugo Loyola chair the Human Rights Commission.
Thank
I
you,
second
Commissioner.
it.
Well, you have a second, and I think we just need to
We
take
can
a
all raise our
vote, raise
hands.
your hand, say hi.
Look at
Aye.
that.
I think we have a.
Unanimous decision, 9-0.
Very humbly, very humbly, I want to thank each and every one of you, and I look forward to the next 2026, 2027 year and the work ahead. We've got a lot of
My
work.
time with the commission, this is the first time there's ever been a 9-person vote on a substantive issue.
And a 9-person commission.
So that's pretty exciting.
My heart is full, so thank you all. Thank you all.
All right, we'll move on to vice chair.
I can't run for vice chair, so
Vice
someone
chair.
else have
Do we
to.
have someone that's interested in the vice chair position? We have Commissioner Nevin.
Commissioner Nevins? Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Uncontested, you want to say a few words?
Not really. I mean, I'm thrilled to do it. You know, I have I've been living in the city since 2019. I've served on the board of DAP Health, fighting for health equity. I serve on the boards of Palm Springs Sister Cities and Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies, used to be known as the Palm Springs Animal Shelter. And, you know, the work I've done on those boards has shown me that community care and human rights don't stop at one issue. It's food access, it's housing, it's safety, it's accessibility, and it's dignity for everyone living in the city. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done in this commission so far. And I think you saw it tonight too. I like to push for locally focused, actionable work. And I think we can get a lot of great stuff done. So I would love to be your vice chair if you would allow me. Thank you.
I so move.
I second.
Okay. All of those in favor to make Commissioner Nevins vice chair, please raise your hand, say aye for the record.
Aye.
Unanimous. Congratulations, Vice Chair.
Thank
Vice
you.
Chair. Yes. All right, since we have completed that and it's now part of the public record, item 12 is any additional comments or requests for future agenda items. Keep in mind, the agenda would be for the month of September. Anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to bring? And we have Madam Clerk, thank you so much.
We just did it. I chatted with Jeff and got permission, so we actually just finished.
You done?
Yep.
Madam, thank you so much.
Thank you.
have to swear in anybody in this group?
I'll be there
Everybody's
as well.
good?
I think we're good. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
I believe there might be a Jewish, I could be wrong. I believe there might be a Jewish holiday on September 14th.
Can we find out about that?
I did some research, Bobby, and I couldn't find something.
Anyone who might be,
Around the room.
I thought I saw something on the calendar. I typed in Jewish holidays, because I know Jewish holidays are a lot in September and October. But I could be wrong.
Rosh Hashanah day 2 is the day before. Day 1 is the 12th. Oh, wait a minute. September 12th. But we're the 14th. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah. Rosh Hashanah, Saturday, September 12th.
it's Sunday, the 13th.
Yeah.
all right, very
So Monday,
good.
we're good.
We should be good.
Okay.
For our new commissioners, we're going to be entering a period of time before now and the end of the year where we are highly active in public activities. We have several parades coming up and other community events that it is highly advisable that we show up with our badges and that we engage with the public and we introduce ourselves as commissioners and you hear the public, right? You're now a formal member of this commission, and remember, listening is paramount to what we do, and bringing those things to the attention of the commission so that we can consider them to be part of the agenda for discussion with the council, and engaging with those types of things that we're hearing it's incredibly important. So as we formalize the last quarter of the year, if you will, list of events, if there's anything in the community that you hear about and it's not in our radar, I invite you to bring it up to our attention and say, I understand that this is happening, and you know, in addition to myself, can anyone else join these public affairs? That's the most important work that we can do, is to be out there in public representing the city and engaging with our community and understanding what's happening and bringing that to everyone's attention. Yes, Robles.
When we talk about engaging our community, being, connected with it, does this commission, does this board provide us cards, like business cards?
No business cards. Your badge is your card.
Okay.
Your badge is your
That's a
card.
clear answer, sir.
Okay?
It's okay.
And when you're talking to public, that's how you will represent.
Okay.
Talking to media, if you haven't already read the procedures, operations and procedures manual that we revised, I will strongly encourage you to do that. And if we can ensure that all of our,
Send it out.
to everyone, not just our new commissioners. We work really hard on this particular standard procedures manual that clearly explains how we engage as a commission, who's responsible for talking and speaking on behalf of the commission to the media. If the media approaches you to get you on the record and it hasn't been discussed and agreed by the commission, it's you as an individual on record, okay? You cannot speak on behalf of the commission. The chair is the only person who can speak on behalf of the commission. And if we haven't discussed the point in an agenda item and agreed on it, you will be misrepresenting the commission's point and the city's point. So be very, very careful when the media approaches you as a commissioner and asks you to go on record, right? That's a very important thing to do because we do have media coverage constantly.
I'll add to that. So I've worked in the media for about 25 years and often get calls here in the Valley to do interviews and stuff. And anytime it does HRC, I'm like, yes, you'll have to speak to Hugo because I won't even answer just because I feel like it's not my place to. So it's always good to be on guard about that.
Yeah, if you decide to make comments, you have to go and do it on record as an individual part of the community, not as a commissioner, right? Very important. Commissioner Rinkin.
Yeah, I would like to agendize an issue for our next September meeting, and that would be following up on the discussion of the immigrant organizations we've heard and how we can more or less formalize some actions. So that would be my recommendation.
I think that will be fantastic discussion points, so come ready with more ideas. Yes, Lily?
I would like to propose 2 agenda items either for the next meeting or for future meetings in calendar year 2026. The first is maybe a discussion on data centers. This is a topic that is hot right now in the Coachella Valley, and a topic where I think the public, Palm Springs public, can benefit from having some facts about data centers. And then the second topic is, the UN Human Rights Council recognizes environmental degradation as a human rights issue. And on the topic of environmental degradation, a topic that's been in the news quite a bit over the last 6 months is repeal of environmental regulations that protect our food and water from PFAS. And I think the public, Palm Springs public, could benefit from having some facts about what that means for the water that we drink and for the food that we're purchasing in our grocery stores or from local farmers.
Do you have a specifically an organization or some organizations who will be experts on the subject matter who might come and make a presentation, perhaps?
For water and food justice, yes. For data centers, I'll have to do a little bit of research on
Okay.
that.
If
I
I
have,
can
I have
chime in
one
here.
person
Yeah.
in mind,
The
but
council is actually taking on data centers. The council member Garner has asked for a full study session on data centers and a potential moratorium on data centers. So that's being taken on as a policy issue at the
Okay.
top of the organization.
All right, so that would be off the table for the
Okay.
commission. Unless the council taking on this will come to us and say, Commission, we need your involvement, then that's something we would not engage. But for the second agenda item, Commissioner Lilly, that you're recommending, if you have a particular organization in mind that can perhaps be invited to come and make a presentation,
Sure.
or maybe a discussion item so that we can engage with questions, that would be the right way to engage with this.
The commission needs to be educated.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the way to do it. And not just the commission. Remember, these are public meetings. We're going on record. The public is listening to everything that's happening here. We're speaking to the public. So in that respect, our community listens to your questions, your concerns, your suggestions, and that's the way this platform reaches the public.
Okay.
All right?
Just as you were talking about the events that we're going to or supposed to go to, do we get emailed those?
I'll be
Yeah,
sending
yeah,
out
yeah.
the
Okay.
list.
We'll organize everything.
Okay, okay.
We're doing parades. We're doing community events. There'll be lots of things that will happen, and everyone is invited to, be a part of it.
Not mandatory.
It's not mandatory, but it is
Encouraged.
Encouraged. Commissioner Greer, Commissioner Strong, any final comments or questions from you?
No, not at this time.
No, it's been a very informative meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. It's great to see you, and Malachi, it's good to see you. Thank you, Councilmember DeHart. Thank you, Councilmember Gardner.
One thing.
Yes.
So I always take notes when I'm here, and there were a few different follow-up things that I'll send an email to Jeremy that he can send out to the group, some of the stuff regarding immigration, et cetera. So I'll get that out to all of you to answer some questions and just kind of give a little more guidance on that.
Thank you. And Councilmember DeHart has his hand raised.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank our returning commissioners who are coming up for another year, and to the new folks that are joining the team tonight. Thank you for your commitment to serve, and let's make this a challenging opportunity to not only have our commission shine, but do good for the community. And make sure that we're serving the people of Palm Springs and the city council. So thank you for your commitment. I'm really happy to see you all there.
Okay, thank you so much for those words. Jeremy, do you have any final comments?
I do have one final comment to say that the nomination period for our community service awards have closed. I'm doing the initial vetting of the application. Can someone here remind me who that subcommittee is so I can pull that together?
You,
Greer.
I can, okay.
Greer, Rimas,
I'll join it.
Nevins,
Oh, Rila.
and
Perfect.
Rankin.
I'll get the application set up,
And me too.
and then we can get the
Sounds
group
good.
together and hopefully do our review so we can present the nominations to the full HRC at the September meeting.
Great. That's a very exciting activity that we.
You talking about the flag one?
No, this is Community Service Awards.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We provide awards to
Sorry.
members of the public, individuals, and organizations that go above and beyond serving our community.
Okay.
And we recognize them in that way for their contributions.
Sorry.
That's going to happen in November.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right, I'm ready to adjourn. I need a motion to adjourn and a second. Okay, we have that. The Human Rights Commission will adjourn to a regular scheduled meeting on Monday, September 14, 2026, unless otherwise noted. Thank you all for being here. Good night. Be safe. We'll see you in September.
Good night.